So for the first part of sketching Lisa from the BlackPink, that is a music cover band. So our main focus will be started from charcoal pencils, and I've used grid method for sketching this complete portrait. If you want dimensions, then for the vertical dimensions it is 16 boxes, per box 1.5 centimeter, and for horizontal boxes it is 17 boxes. And if you don't know what I am talking about, like boxes and all, one box is equal to 1.5 centimeter, and this is the measurements and dimensions for grid method. And if you don't know how to use a grid method, just comment down below. I will make another tutorial for you all. Now let's just focus on the hairs. But the main problem was that for making more than 45 to 1 hour of making those right hand side of hairs of Lisa, my camera stopped working and it didn't recorded the main thing that was starting and the half parts of those hairs. But the main thing that after that I know that where the parts and the where important parts are, so I am just telling you the important things about hairs of sketching this Lisa's portrait. So if you can focus on the reference picture, that the hairs are starting from forehead and upward on the head on straight line. Most of the hairs just curve a little bit on the center, curve a little bit on the end or any other parts. But for the sketching of this Lisa part, every part of the hairs are completely straight, and most of the parts are completely straight, not every part. So you have to keep on focusing on the directions of the hairs. Now the main base layer is equal to the main thing about any portraits. So for the base layer I have used medium charcoal pencil for making those smaller straight lines and smaller hairs. But if you can focus on your head or any other heads or any other things, there are millions of hairs and you cannot practically make those million hairs. So for that, the technique that we may use or you can apply on any portrait is that just blend it. First, for the base layer, make every hair as much as possible, then use blending stump, or you can also use makeup brush with hardest one, and then finally for the second layer use the soft charcoal pencil, but only on the parts which are completely black or completely dark, not every part. Because if you can focus on the left side, forehand left side part of the Lisa's hairs, there are a little bit of highlights or smaller hairs which are light as compared to any other parts. So to make those lights visible, use mono eraser, or you can also use a rubber which is cutted with blade or pointed out. You can also use that technique too, but I recommend that make base layer first, second layer, then blend it, and then for second layer use soft charcoal pencil. Then if you see where more and more darker parts are, just like the right hand side of the hairs where are completely black, so just use soft charcoal pencil and you have your look for the hairs. Now for the face, every time I tell every person that the main thing about face is that if you will see your parents, friends or anyone, the first thing that you will focus is that the eyes, nose and the lips. And if you will fumble or make those mistakes on those three parts, your portrait will look completely horrible, or not, it will look like a drawing. I see most of the beginners and intermediate artists make this mistake that they make shading too beautiful, they make structures too beautiful, too many things more beautiful than I can ever imagine. But what they make a mistake is that one eye is looking 1.5 centimeter and another eye is looking 1.7, 1.8. It means the measurement problem, or some parts of the measurement of the eyes or nose or lips problems. So for that I will recommend every time that if you are an advanced artist, if you are making your portraits directly too, or you can make any other things directly, but use grid method. And the main profit and the main advantage about using grid method is that you can have the perfect dimensions that you want. Now for the main parts or the blending parts of the face, for the eyes I have used graphite pencil which is 8B pencil, but for the base layer I have used 2B pencil. You can also use 2H pencil, but as I always say that just see the skin texture first, then second see the skin tone, and finally see the light source. Light source is the most important thing for any portrait sketching, because if the light source is on the front side, of course the shades and the lights will be on the back end side, or you cannot see those lights or the shades. But if the light is little bit tilted on left hand side, so of course the darker side or the shaded side will be on the right hand side. So you have to keep on focusing on those details too. So if you can focus on the skin tone of Lisa, it is more equal to white but not completely white. Not any skin texture is completely white in this world, so you have to make those whites visible. But for making those whites visible or the skin tone white, you have to use up to 2B or 2H pencils, and then where the shades are right, like the right hand side part, which is the right hand side part of nose, right hand side part of cheeks, these parts are a little bit shaded as compared to left side part. So on those right hand side parts where the more and more shades are going, so on those parts just use first as a 2B layer, as we used in previous parts also. First use 2B layer, just blend it, and for the second layer use 3B pencil. 3B pencil is a little bit dark as compared to 2B, but most of the artists make mistake on this part, which is they use mechanical pencil for making outlines, making shadings, and these parts they apply more and more pressure for making those parts more dark, but they don't see that they can use 7B or 6B pencil for having more darker parts and less applying pressures. The game of about making portraits and realistic sketches is that how you use your pencils, or how you use the grades, how you see the pencils, how you shade your pencils. From only one pencil you can have more dark values, but up to a certain level, and you have to apply more and more pressure to. If you are using 3B pencil, and if you want the darkest part of the cornea or any other parts like eyelashes, if you want 3B to look like a 10B pencil, you have to apply too much of pressure, and if you want to erase it afterwards, it is not easy. So use more and more grades on your sketches. So as you can see that I am using blending stump for blending those parts, and the main reason about using blending stump on the skin texture is that in every part I say that don't use blending stumps for sketching on skin textures or any other parts of faces or skin textures or any other things. But for this particular sketch I have used blending stump, which is the medium one, for sketching or blending the parts or the skin textures. We will see the reason on the second part. So that was all for this tutorial. If you have learned something from this video, subscribe and drop a like, and comment down your question and queries regarding this tutorial. Meanwhile, take care of your loved ones too. Have an artistic day. Tattoos.